Hello and welcome back to the RiftGuides WildRift video. For today we are going to take a look at the patch notes for patch 5.0b. First off, we'll start with the events, together under the crescent. Here we have just another event, which starts at the 8th of March, just one event, nothing else. The Chinese get like 50 events, so yeah, already setting the mood for this video. Now just jokes aside, but let's hop right to the heart of this patch, the balance changes. Akali. Akali has been our resident glass cannon assassin, but she's been a bit too fragile recently. We're making her just a little tankier so she doesn't have to perform to perfect combo to get a kill and live. She'll also do more damage in the mid game where she tends to struggle. Base armor is getting increased from 4.3 to 5, and the assassin's mark, which is her passive, gets a better flat damage and a better scaling. So the question is, was this really necessary? But I like the approach as to how they want to balance Akali, because using a passive properly was something that is usually done with more skill. Like if you know the ins and outs of Akali, you'll get more passive procs. In most instances, however, for example, if you're fighting a squishy champion, you'll just use your third ability and one-shot them, so it doesn't really matter. So this damage buff does not really change anything when you're fighting squishy champions, but it changes something if you fight more tankier champions or some bruiser champions up in the Baron lane. So it's an interesting approach, making him more viable in the Baron lane. Next up we have Abelian Soul. Our favorite dragon in the mid lane has been bursting tanks way faster than he should be. Now he's gonna need some more starters to do that kind of damage. His first ability, Breath of Light. Instead of 3% of maximum health per 100 starters, it's only 2.5. And the threshold of execution for the singularity goes down from 2.6 per 100 Stardust to 2.1 per 100 Stardust. Not only this, but also the scaling of the third ability, singularity, is going down from 25% AP to 15% AP. So what does this do? This doesn't kill Abelian Soul. However, this champion had a ban rate of 86 or 80% across all ranks in China. Like if you took a look at the API there or the website, you see this champion is banned, and banned once more. So something needed to happen. For Dr. Mundo, we also have another change coming. The new items have come out recently, fit Dr. Mundo pretty well, and maybe a little too well. We're adjusting his numbers so he's not running rampant across the rift. Heart Zapper. The detonation damage is going down in the sense of the percentage scaling, and the blunt force trauma is also losing some percentage scaling. Now, why is Mundo getting nerfed? Mundo is one of these champions that is very easy to play and very impactful. Like, unless you know what you're doing against the Dr. Mundo, or literally know about the existence of Divine Sundra, and even with Divine Sundra, you need to be careful on first item completion against this champion, you have trouble dealing with him. Also changes to how he functions in the sense of regenerating HP or gaining bonus health compared to the old version of just healing, and the healing also got weaker against him. So what does this do? It obviously makes Mundo weaker, which he needed to be for how easy he was to play. Does this immediately kill Mundo? No. It will simply make him weaker, and with the nerfed label on top of his forehead, he'll be picked less likely, similar to Abelian Soul, because if a champion is nerfed, the public opinion always goes like, well, the champion is nerfed, he must be bad, even though they're just less good, so yeah. Something really crazy this patch comes to Gragas. Gragas has been needing a little boost in the jungle. Now he'll be able to body slam his way through the jungle and lanes alike. So what are they doing? Second ability, Drunken Rage. They're increasing the scaling by 15%. Third ability, they're increasing the scaling by 10%. Explosive Cask. They're increasing the scaling by 10%. So across all abilities, this champion gets 35% more ability damage, 35% more ability power scaling. So what does this do? And how exactly does this translate into anything? So, Gragas as a champion with a second ability, you can have it up permanently. You can use this and you have the damage mitigation up permanently. And given that you go full AP, this auto attack will hurt. It will hurt quite a lot. And in a lot of instances in the game, Gragas either one-shot you, like with a lot of extra damage, or you were left at a pretty low HP value, depending on how tanky you were due to the new items. With this, however, it will be a story of the past. He will one-shot you, and I think the priority of Gragas in the jungle will skyrocket. Not only this, I also believe that Gragas in combination with Senna will be played way more often, and Gragas in the Baron lane with the Rod of Ages build could come back with this, because so much damage added to the kit could be really scary to face. Next up on this list is Karma. Karma is a breeze in my hair on the weekend. Karma is a relaxing thought, and she is also doing too much damage in the early game. So we're adjusting her burst damage, so there will be options for outplays as she has to kite for more damage with a lower cooldown on her shield. First ability, Inner Flame. What are they doing? They are lowering the damage of the ability by 10 flat across all ranks, no scaling impacted. The empowered damage is lowered by 5, and that per rank, so at the late game, you have, instead of 310, 290 damage flat, and simply still the same scaling. Since you're maxing this spell first, the next nerf will not really impact you that much because the empowered slowdown starts with 50% at level 1, but now is at 42.5% and then scales up to 50 per level. To compensate this high damage Karma into a, well, more utility Karma, we have a buff to a third ability which you are maxing second, Inspire. The cooldown of this ability goes down by 1.5 seconds in the late game. So what does this do for Karma? Karma still had too much damage, let's be honest. This doesn't necessarily kill Karma, nor does it really change or alter the way she's built, because it's still the same AP scalings. But what you can do with this is you have a better interaction with Harmonic Echo and your third ability. You have a lot less cooldown, so it makes it a lot more valuable. However, you still have to decide between two primary gameplay styles with Karma, the full nuke Karma with Luden's Echo and Infinity Orb, or the utility Karma with Luden's Echo and Harmonic Echo. With Katarina, we have some buffs ahead. We have tweaked Katarina's numbers around so she has more opportunities for outplays in the early to mid game, while also improving her burst damage. Base stats, the base health goes up from 570 to 600, and the bonus damage and the scaling of Shunpo is getting increased, if I'm seeing this correctly. No, only the flat numbers are getting increased from 15 to 20, and overall like a 20 damage increase on full ranks, which you max ability second. So does this really do too much? I don't think so. Level 1 you have like 5 damage, like level 2 you have 5 damage extra, and you have 30 health extra. So this doesn't really do too much, but the 30 health for laning phase makes it a lot easier for her to maneuver bad matchups or force good matchups into a state where they can't play anymore. Next up, we have Lucian. Lucian has been falling off in the mid to late game. This change should allow him to apply marks more often and trigger his passive more often, leading to smoother and more impactful gameplay. Ardent Blaze. The cooldown goes down by 1.5 seconds in the late game, and the damage goes up as well by up to 15. Now let's talk about the issue with this change. First off, this is the ability Lucian maxes the last. Like, you have this ability in the hyper late game, but the biggest issue for Lucian in the late game is not falling off in a sense of damage, it's his ability to deal damage. If a Lucian gets close in late game and you are a squishy champion, he one-taps you. If he doesn't have the mechanical capabilities of doing so, he will just be useless. So the issue is balancing Lucian to cater towards a casual player base is probably too difficult. This champion requires you to all in and fight, and be very aware of key situations in the fight to swap target and go in deep, and if you don't do so, your champion will do nothing because you keep on hitting frontline, which you will not be able to kill. And this buff doesn't do anything, it's basically just a placebo buff for the champion. Next up comes Renekton. Renekton also has not been performing the best in mid to late game. We are buffing his ultimate so he can leave his opponents in the dust faster than you can say, "See ya later, alligator." Just kidding, we know he's a crocodile. Really? Anyway, for his ultimate ability, Dominus, the bonus health goes up by 50 on rank 2 and by 100 on rank 3, and the bonus damage per second goes up by 10 on rank 2 and by 20 on rank 3. What does this do for Renekton? Renekton in this game has big issues of reaching the backline because there's so many tools to just deny him access. He doesn't have a free access like other champions, for example, Sett. Not only this, Renekton also lacks damage in direct comparison. This is the, I think, 4th or 5th buff to Renekton in sequence, and this champion is still struggling due to how he functions, the items in the game, and his general presence. However, if they keep on doing this, I've said this earlier, eventually we'll reach a point where the numbers are just so overbearingly high that he'll just keep on stomping everything in his face. One of my all-time classic comes now with Samira. As a marksman, Samira is underperforming, especially against tanks and teamfights. We're tweaking her ultimate numbers so she can make a decent or dent in a sea of heart seals and titanic hydras. Inferno Trigger. Movement speed reduction from 40% to 30%, and the damage per shot goes up by 5 on rank 2 and by 10 on rank 3, and plus 5% attack damage scaling. So let's talk about the issues. Samira is a champion that does not function well in solo queue. you need a support or you need to play her jungle. You cannot really play her in complete solo queue because you are dependent on many things. For example, if you have a clueless support who plays Thresh and doesn't do anything, you can't play. But if you have a Giga gamer who just goes in like an Alistair, a Thresh who actually plays the game, a Leona, you can just follow up and literally one-tap people and then snowball the living hell out of a game. And in late game, you have to be patient. You have to wait, similar to a Katarina, for the enemy crowd control to be used to then go super deep and one-shot the enemy backline and utilize one of the most broken items in the game, which is Quicksilver. If you have the Quicksilver stash, you avoid being CC'd while ulting and therefore allow yourself to deal enough damage. And I'm very scared to see this champion absolutely take over the game by adding so much damage to ultimate, which at the first sight looks quote-unquote so little. Next up, we have Sett. Sett is another one of our darlings in the Baron lane and has been absolutely dominating with the new items. He's also getting some tweaks so his opponents can keep up with his jabs. Second ability, Haymaker. The max rate stored goes down from 50% maximum health to 45. That is a decent nerf to his second ability, which in the past one-shot you and will still deal a sizable chunk of damage into your face. His ultimate ability, the Showstopper, is losing some of the HP scaling. Rather than dealing 40, 50 to 60, it's now 35, 45 to 55 bonus health of the enemy target. This makes it a little bit easier to not just get one-shot as an AD carry, because you've seen it so many times. You have a tanky frontline, the Sett just yeets the target right into your face and you lose your entire HP bar in a flash and you just die, and there's no counterplay. And this is really annoying to face, so yeah, it had to be done. And people are simply not drafting champions into Sett that kill Sett, because if you pick something that does nothing into Sett, obviously you will just kill everyone. Baron lane is one of the hardest lanes when it comes to counter picks, and you get punished severely by picking a weaker or bad champion, especially blind picking champions. Next up, we have Trendir. Trendir has been having a hard time against other tanky Baron laners. Now he will be able to survive better in lane and deal more damage. Well, our God King Mert, the rank on the server, would disagree. But, well, he's playing 5Q in Emerald and Gold for Challenger and Sovereign LP, or abused the in-system beforehand, so, well, who knows. But now let's talk about the changes. First ability, Bloodlust, passive. The attack damage increase is from 5 to 10, so you get just a 5 bonus AD on putting one skill into this point, which is then 10 bonus AD. The bonus health regeneration also goes up by a big margin. Instead of 1 per Fury, you get 1.5 per Fury for just 1 point of an investment. That is a massive change if you look at the overall healing, making this champion a lot more durable and a lot more powerful during early game skirmishes. Now onwards to the next champion, Urgot. A little buff to Urgot's late game damage is just what he needs, and now he and his legs can carry you to victory even easier. Passive, Echoing Flames. The attack damage scaling goes up by a whopping 15% in the late game, and the maximum health scaling goes up by 1.5%. And the cooldown per leg in the late game goes down by 0.5 seconds. The movement speed slow on his second ability is going down from 125 to up to only 80. Which means that this champion moves a lot faster, which is a big difference because Urgot now might be able to actually reach and deal damage more consistently. But if there's one thing that Urgot actually needs, is that Death Stance applies to him as a melee character. Then this champion would be a lot better, I believe at least. Next up, we have the rework of Wukong in our hands. The Monkey King is getting his highly anticipated rework this patch. Now he should be able to survive longer in teamfights, deal more damage, and have more room for outplays. The previous passive is getting removed and he gets a new passive called Stone Skin. Wukong gains a stack of Stone Skin when he attacks enemy champions with base attacks and abilities. Each stack grants him 10 to 18 armor and 0.7 max health regeneration every 5 seconds up to 3 stacks. Meaning, for example, if you auto-attack Q auto-attack level 1, you have instantly 3 stacks, which on level 1 grants you 30 armor. That's quite a lot and quite a lot of extra health regeneration. But I don't think this will be everything. I think there might be more to this passive that isn't listed here, because the health regeneration... The health regeneration sounds a little bit too low for the later stages of the game, given that the healing from his first ability is getting removed. And now let's move on to the first ability, Golden Staff. Remove the health regeneration effect of Golden Staff. New passive. Golden Staff adds an empowering effect on Wukong's base attacks every 15 seconds. Takedowns will reduce Golden Staff's passive cooldown by 3 seconds. The cooldown of the passive will be reduced by 3 seconds per level, and killing enemy champions will refresh the cooldown. How it's empowered, we have no idea. Warrior Trickster. Now the clone can move with the joystick control and can mimic Nimbus Strike to dash. Nimbus Strike. Multiple dashes to the same target. Removed. Wait, does this mean... What does this actually mean? I'm confused. Huh. Well, Wukong will be released on the 21st of March. And for the last change, we have a change to Crown of the Shattered Queen. Crown of the Shattered Queen has mages way to save with too little counterplay. We are changing the damage reduction effect. Now players will have to exercise more decision making when it comes to their positioning during teamfights. Safeguard. Damage reduction 70% to 50%. So again, this item will still be bought. It's nice to see it weaker, because mages need this type of item to not get just randomly one-shot and at least to block one effect, because we don't have Banshee's Veil anymore. So this item will still be key in most of the builds, depending on what they're facing, and will be picked up this, regardless of the nerf. Skins. Nightbringer Kayn, releasing on the 8th of March, Dawnbringer Akshan, as well on the 8th of March, Dawnbringer Draven on the 8th of March, Nightbringer Trendir on the 8th of March, Blackfrost Renekton on the 10th of March, which I believe is part of the Pocket Battle Pass, Battle Academia Caitlyn on the 21st of March, Warden Nautilus on the 21st of March, and Battle Academia Jace on the 21st of March. And with that, we're at the end of this video. Thank you all for watching, and if you enjoyed the video, leave a like and subscribe to the channel, and see you soon for more RiftGuides content.